Welcome back to Hannity. President Obama's own words are now coming back to haunt him. While he was quick to pounce on the Bush administration for how they handled the war on terror, well, now as commander-in-chief, he is broadening the government's ability to spy on law-abiding Americans. Earlier today, Press Secretary Jay Carney insisted the White House kept lawmakers informed. Watch this.
In these cases, there has been substantial provision of information to Congress, both depending on the section we're talking about of the Patriot Act, either to all members or to the appropriate committee members and leadership.
Now, unfortunately for this administration, lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, they're actually disputing that claim, and that includes left-wing Congressman Keith Ellison. Now, here's what he told ABC News over the weekend.
Are you allowed to see everything?
I don't think I am. I'm allowed to see certain things, and they tell us it's available if you make time at certain times and places to go see it. But the fact is, no, I am not aware of this program that was revealed today. I have no notice. We checked our emails and our notices. We were never told that we were able to find out the information's been revealed this week. So I think it's a fiction. It's a fiction that everybody in Congress knows.
All right, so why is this story? Why should it be important to you? Now, for starters, Americans need to make sure that presidential candidates, in this case Barack Obama, mean what they say and say what they mean when they're on the campaign trail. You know why? It's downright deceitful to flip-flop on issue after issue after voters cast their ballots. Now, secondly, we need to trust that our elected representatives are not being kept in the dark about controversial programs. We have 3 separate but equal branches of government for a reason: to provide checks and balances. And third, this situation makes us wonder, what else are they hiding? Joining me now from the American Center for Law and Justice, Jay Sekulow, and radio talk show host, Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall. All right, Leslie, you and I are friends, even though we have a lot of political disagreements. Obama made
But we're not going to call each other anymore.
What's that? All right.
We're not going to call each other anymore.
Obama made very specific promises on this specific issue, one after another. We just played it in the last segment. As a liberal who voted for him, does it bother you that he didn't keep his promise?
Oh, absolutely. However, I do know something, and this is going to be a little bit crazy, but I was a perfect parent before I had children, Sean. And I think when one is elected to the presidency, whether they're on the left or the right, and I don't think it's a good thing, but I think it's a reality, and I think this is a reality. I think the president came in and he saw that some of the things that former President Bush did that I didn't like. I was very uncomfortable with the Patriot Act. I thought that was overreaching. I certainly feel there's a lot more overreaching. But when the president came in, and as he spoke of in the State of the Union address, terrorism is not just about bombs at marathons and buildings coming down. As we see with China, it's now on a level with cyber attacks on the internet. So I think as commander-in-chief, his first priority and his responsibility and his job description is to keep Americans safe, not only here but abroad. And national security is essential. The polls show that Americans want their privacy, but they want security more than privacy.
All right,
and
Jay,
they're not uncomfortable with their phone records being gathered.
Enhanced interrogation, which the president, that becomes a kill list. EIT, no. Kill list, yes. Then, of course, we have Gitmo remains open, and now he was against warrantless searches. And the broadest possible definition, millions of Americans now being looked into. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you what you've got. The president doesn't like to use the word, you said this earlier, Sean, the word terrorism, doesn't want to acknowledge we're in a war on terrorism, but certainly doesn't mind utilizing the war powers that a president has as commander-in-chief to protect the homeland. So the idea here that we are not in a war, or he won't call it a war, but then he exercises these kind of activities shows you that this is a political move, not a legal one. And I'll take it a step further here. You know, I said early on, you know, when Barack Obama was running for president in 2008, he was making all the heavy criticism of President Bush. I said, you know, he's not the one that's going to the 7 o'clock in the morning briefings that John Ashcroft and Director Mueller used to do with President Bush, when you have to listen to what's really going on and find out the nature of the attack. So now the left is saying, oh, well, he's now president, so he should have the right to do this. But if you look at what was going on during the Bush administration, I mean, to complain about the Patriot Act when the president's doing what he's doing, give me a break. I mean, this is ridiculous. And take it a step further, Sean. You said this in your earlier segment with Senator Paul. The idea, and I don't think it's distinct here, that you've got this problem with the IRS with disclosure issues, as well as overstepping their bounds, as well as targeting people, and then you've got the leaks here. You ask yourself, who's running this government, and do you really trust, for instance, in the IRS case, that they're going to be enforcing Obamacare? Do you trust them with your health information any more than you don't think that could be leaked? They just had a 29-year-old leak this information. Could you imagine what the IRS could do with your health information?
Leslie, respond to that.
Yeah, Jay, you know, there was a gentleman on Fox the other day who used to work for the NSA, and I thought he said something great, which is, we're not superhumans that work at the NSA. We're humans. Everyone who works in the government, whether it's a Democratic or a Republican president, administration, and regardless of who has majority in the House and the Senate, are human beings, and human beings err. There's always going to be somebody with their hand out for somebody writing a check overseas
these aren't errors.
who wants information.
These aren't you're acting, Leslie, like this is an unintentional,
you know what, Jay? Years ago, when we had people give information to other countries, journalists or otherwise, they were called traitors or conspirators. We even had a husband and wife hanged in America.
Well, I don't consider James Rosen. I don't consider James Rosen a traitor or a conspirator, and I don't think that targeting individuals with violating information is an unforced
could be linked with
error.
espionage.
Leslie, let him finish. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, you're acting, Leslie, as this is kind of unforced errors and people make mistakes. This was an intentional leak with the NSA information. You've got an intentional targeting, and the IRS simply says, we apologize for doing this. Well, you know, if you filed a false tax return, you don't get to say you're sorry. And the idea that this information is being leaked should not give anybody solace that the same thing won't happen with your tax information or your health records. It's all connected. It's lack of government control.
I got to wish Jay Secular, I understand it's somebody's birthday and anniversary today. You know anybody?
But
Happy
my
birthday,
wife,
Jay.
Pam, is
you
a
share it
trooper.
with
She
my
had me
mom
here.
who's watching.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
And coming up, a scathing new